where do you see the church as a whole going? What's your kind of vision or your hope for different things involving the church or the growth of the church?
I think the church, and guess I'm thinking like Episcopal Church just as a denomination, and thinking about the times that we're in, coming out of COVID, new communities, thinking about people. I think it would be wonderful if our church continued to try and meet people where they are, and to think more about going outside of our spaces. The model of having a building and a space and people coming is still lived out. People still do that. People come to the church. And I'm curious and excited about what it would look like for the church, which is really the body, it's the people. Where do we go? What would it like to have a presence regularly at the farmers market, or what would it look like to have a presence outside? We've been doing our Dogs with Dogs event.
Right.
Maybe what would that look like to just continue to go out together. And evangelism looks a lot of ways. It doesn't have to be the street corner preacher. It could be that.
Yeah.
But evangelism is also getting to know our neighbor and assisting where God is already moving in the community and where there's good work being done. So I'm curious about that. I've heard of things like laundry church, where people meet literally at the laundromat because that's where people go on a Saturday
cool.
morning. Sometimes, like,
Yeah.
let's say you're a single parent, and you perhaps your work schedule is that you just can't make it on a Sunday morning. I think having different and alternative times and places to still meet and gather and worship and pray is really important. So I don't know what that'll look like. People and churches are already doing it, so that's something I'm excited about. But I think there's a virtual component that is going to stay with us that
Yeah.
I'm also excited about, is how are we connecting and having meaningful community conversations, connections virtually. And Compline is one of those ways. Before Compline starts, there's usually people who say like, oh, I'm glad you're here, welcome Eric, da 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 da. There's a little bit of socializing, and then Compline starts. There's a leader and who will say, okay, now let's mute our mics. Who wants to do this? Who wants to do that part? And then when Compline ends, there's also a little bit of chitter chatter. So like there's community already being built virtually, and people look forward to that. So I wonder about that continuing on. And St. Paul's we can do those things. We can be creative and go outside our space. We can also welcome different groups in, and we can also use our virtual space in continuing the ways we are, but maybe in other ways.
Yeah.
So those are just a couple ideas.
No, that's awesome. The fact that they're also something that it sounds like you actively think about with just hearing what other places do and some cool unique ideas that they have.